ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्यस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदताम् ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 22, verse number 27. So we read the pastime of Krishna stealing the dress of the young girls from Yamuna, and how he fulfilled their wish for which they have done the Katyayani Vrata. So as we have discussed, this pastime is very controversial, very problematic to explain, especially for people who do not have proper understanding of what is God, who is Krishna, what he is doing. And it is for this reason that commentators keep on writing all this, that these girls were only, Vishwanath Chakravarti was saying they were like 2 or 3 year old This seems unbelievable because 2-year-old girl is not going to walk from her village to Yamuna early morning, but just to make sure that people do not get the wrong idea. And Sri Vyasadeva also is conscious of this because he knows what he is going to explain, and therefore he has laid the ground from the very beginning. It is quite interesting, although we may not pay attention to that in the very beginning, in the 4th chapter of Bhāgavatam, when Shaunaka Rishi asked that how did the meeting between Parikshit and Sukdev happen? Because Sukdev was an avdhuta, tasya putro mahayogi samdrig nirvikalpaka, that he was completely samdrig nirvikalpaka. You know what is nirvikalpaka and savikalpaka, right? Savikalpaka means with visheshan visheshya, when you understand an object with qualities, and nirvikalpaka is without that. So means he was not focused on anything. That is what nirvikalpaka means. Nirvikalpak samadhi means that there is no object of meditation, no sound, no mantra, no form, nothing. There is no distinction between perceiver, perceived and perception. So that is what is called nirvikalpaka. So he is tasya putro mahayogi samdrik, and here samdrik means his vision was equal. Equal means we also talk of equal vision. Krishna also talks of this samta, sukhe dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jaya. But here this is different. Samdrik means he was not making any distinction even between genders as male and female. That's why he spoke that drishtvanuyantam risimatmajam api nagnam devyo hriya paridadhur na sutasya chitram so tadviksha prichati mano jagdut avastu stripum bhida na sutasya vivikta drishte. So he says that there was no need for this to explain there. That when Sukdev was walking and these Devis were taking bath naked, so they did not cover their bodies, but when Vyasa came they covered. So this was very chitram. It was very surprising even to the great sage Vyasa. Therefore he went and he asked them that why is this difference in behavior? My son is naked and you are naked. You did not cover your bodies. I am dressed, I am old, he is young, and you are covering your body. So they said that you have the distinction of male and female, he does not have. So there is no point in covering or not covering, makes no difference to him. So why this was said there? So the relevance of that statement is actually here in 10th Canto. That it is the same Sukdev who is describing this pastime of Krishna stealing the dress. Now if Sukdev had such a high state of mind, he is not going to describe anything which is related with sex, because he has no interest in it. He is already Samdrik, he is Mahayogi. Krishna was also called Yogeshwareshwara, he is also Mahayogi. Means he is beyond anything related with sex. There is no calm involved in his. So why would he take any interest in describing this if this pastime of Krishna has anything to do with the material relationship of male and female? So that means if he is taking interest in describing it, there must be something very supreme and pristine about it. Otherwise he would not take interest in it. He is not a material person. These things don't come in his mind. Forget about interest, they don't appear in his mind. Just like for materialistic people, spiritual things don't appear in the mind. For spiritual people, material things don't appear in their mind, because they have vision above it. And he was not a person who was born and then he practiced materialism, then he became perfect, because then he would have samskaras. He was a person who was born like that. Right? So, tam pravrajantam anupetam peta krityam dvapayano virahkataraju have. By birth he was like that. Means he has no samskaras even. You can have samskaras and then you can rise above raga, dvesha, materialism, kam, krodha, you become spiritual. But samskaras are still there. They don't bother you anymore. But they're there. He did not even have that. So then why would he take interest in describing this pastime if this has anything to do with material karma? That is the point. So you see how Vyasa is laying his ground from the very beginning. Because this is the Sukdev who is speaking Bhāgavatam. This is the Sukdev who is speaking about Krishna-līlā. And this is the Sukdev who speaks about stealing of the dresses of the gopis. So then that is the implied sense. That is the Vyanjana Vritti of that statement there, that how this has nothing to do with bhautik kama. So this is what we have to keep in mind. So now Krishna was speaking when he returned the dresses back, and they still did not move from there, right? Lajjitekshana, they're standing there. So then he said, Yatavla vrajam siddha maimaram satha kshapaha yadudisya vratamidam cherur aryarchanam satihi. So he said, Yata Abla Vrajam Siddha. He says that, O Abla, O young girls, now you have become Siddha. Means you have attained your wish. They are already Nitya Siddhas, but here Siddha means that the very purpose for which you did Arya Archanam, means the worship of Katyayani, Sati, Devi. So you have attained the siddhi for that, you have attained perfection in that. So therefore now you go to Vraja. So then gopis will say, then what is the point? You are saying that we attained our wish and now you are sending us away. So he says, no, maya ima ramsata kshapaha. So I will meet you in the coming nights. Shapa means night, and ima means these, means very soon. Yadudishya vratamidam cheru aryarchanam sati. So the very purpose for which you have performed this vrata, so I will fulfill that wish of yours and I will enjoy with you, or I will play with you. So that is the assurance he is giving. So this is what will manifest in the Rāsa-līlā then. So प्राथमिकस्य रमणस्य शुभम समयो रात्रि एव इति अभिप्रेत्य आह याता इति. So why did he say that you go and we will meet at night? Why specifically he said night? So he says because the meeting between the lovers is good at night. No disturbance. Daytime you have your responsibilities. So night is also called Kshanada. Kshana means moment, but Kshana also means Utsav. Means it is the time for relaxation. Day is meant for working. Right? So day is Rajasic and night is Tamasic, means relax. So therefore I said, Maya me ramsta kshapa. So ima siddha eva yuyam madhurya poshkena narlilatveneva sadhakatva bhimane iti bhava. So he said that you have become siddha, you have become perfected. So he says that it is only because of Nar-līlā that he is talking like that. Because they are already siddha, they are already perfected. But now means their wish to unite with Krishna, having his company, will be fulfilled, and they are acting as if they are sadhakas. That's why they performed Katyayan worship, but they are siddha to begin with. Imaha samnihita. So ima means these, which means soon. Ramshata ramshadve. So ram dhatu is atmanipadi. So therefore it should be ramsadve, not ramsatha. That is parpada. So according to Panini, it's arsha. You have to say arsha. So yad ramnam. So yad uddishya vratamidam cheru. So you did this vrata with the purpose with what you did it. So what is that purpose? It says Ramanam, to relish his company. And Arya, who is Arya? Arya means Durga. And Sati, Sati also problematic. So it should be Satya. The Sati is accusative plural. It should be nominative plural. Actually not even nominative plural, but vocative plural. But he is addressing them. So this is the end of this Leela. Now he concludes it. Sri Shuka Uvacha Iti Adishta Bhāgavata Labdha Kama Kumarikaha Dhyayantas Tadpadam Bhojam Kirshar Nirvishur Vrajam. So when they were ordered like this by Bhagwan, these young girls, Kumarika, who have attained their wish, thinking of him, they entered Vraja with great difficulty, because it was very difficult for them to leave them. So this is also important to understand, that Krishna loves them, they love Krishna, but still he is asking them to go to their homes. Otherwise it is pleasurable to be with the person whom you love. But they also have responsibility, and he also has a responsibility. So from practical point of view, he is not renouncing his responsibility, although he is Bhagwan. He says, Name avaptam avaptavyam. Vartate evacha karmani. In Bhagavad Gita says, there is nothing I have to attain. I have attained everything, avaptam. And there is nothing avaptavyam, there is nothing that I need to achieve. But still I act. So he acts so that others can learn from his ideal. So he is also having his responsibility of taking care of the cows, so he is not giving up that. So in bhakti also it is not that, well, I like this, so I will do this, but this I don't like, I don't do this. So we also have to do what we are asked to do. So therefore, although they did not want to leave him, but they left. But it was hard for them. Therefore it says, Krishrat nirvivishu vrajam dhyayante. But their mind is on him. So as Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. So therefore at all time you remember me and fight. So mind has to be on Krishna, and with your hand you can do your duties, respective responsibilities which have to be taken care. So that's what is being described here, that dhyayantas tat padam bhojam krichat nirvishur vrajam. So krichrāditi tena tasam mano netradi aharanat. So why is it said that it was difficult for them to leave? He says, because Krishna has taken away their mind and their eyes. Because he is called Manohara. Means who takes away your mind. So how can you go somewhere where your mind is not there? You go where your mind is, right? So their mind is with Krishna, how will they go to Vraja? So still they are going. And the characteristic of netra, eyes, is that eyes are always attracted to beauty. Whatever is beautiful, eyes naturally go there. So Krishna is Sundar. He is Shyam Sundar, as they said, Shyam Sundar te dasya. Said, we are your dasi. So therefore their netra, their eyes and their mind are taken away by him. And it is very difficult to go if your mind is not interested. And eyes are called netra. Netra means leader. You know neta? Neta means leader. Eyes are the leader because they are the one which lead. If we don't have eyes, we need help to walk. So if the eyes are with Krishna, how will they go elsewhere? They don't have the leader. But still they left. Atha gopai parivrito Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha Vrindavanad gato duram Charyanga sahagrajaha. So now the curtain drops. Scene number 2. So that scene is over. Therefore it says Atha. Atha means change of topic. So now Krishna, Gopai Parivrito, being surrounded by his friends, so they were also lurking around somewhere behind the bushes. They came back because it was asked whether he was alone or the friends were also there. So they were hiding somewhere. So therefore it says Gopai Parivrita, surrounded by his friends, and all this time he is calling him as Devaki Sutta. If you remember, everywhere in this chapter, maybe this is the third time that he calls him as Devaki Sutta, son of Devaki. Why is he calling him Devaki Sutta, not Yashoda Sutta? So because he is speaking with Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit's relationship is with Devaki, because Parikshit's grandfather Arjuna, Arjuna's mother Kunti, Kunti's brother Vasudeva, Vasudev's wife Devaki. So he can feel consoled, otherwise he will feel lost, that how is this Krishna, I have nothing to do with him. So he feels, well, this Krishna is related to me. So he feels very encouraged that I am related to this Krishna. So therefore repeatedly he says Devaki Sutta, Devaki Sutta. This is the third time. Satha Gopai Parivrito Bhagavan Devaki Sutta. So Bhagavan, and again the word Bhagavan, previously also Bhagavata, that is also repeatedly he is using the word Bhagavan, so that you don't get lost and start thinking something else. So the son of Devaki or son of Yashoda, because Devaki is also name of Yashoda, so it's no problem. So Vrindavanad gato duram charyanga sahagraja. So now he went and he joined his brother Balaram, and he was tending the cows, and he went little far away from Vrindavan. So duram gata, because cows wherever they go they just follow them. So Gop Kanya Prasadasya Prastutyarohita Smritau Yagyapatni Prasado Atastam Vivakshura Bhun Muni Athaiti Samyantar Vyanjakam Kadachit Nighata Nighadartha iti artha. So it is not same day. some other day. So don't think that these gopas were there. He says this is some other day. So he says that now he blessed these girls, young girls. So this reminded him of Yagyapatni, that I also have to bless them. So he says Yagyapatni prasado smritau arohita. So ek sambandhi vastu apar sambandhim smarayati. This is the principle of smaran. How we remember things, that you see one thing, and if there is another thing which is related with it, then that thing comes in the mind. Right? If you see smoke, then you see there must be fire. The smoke reminds you of fire. That's why many times in family, if some young person dies, then people don't want to live in that house. If they are very much attached to, they love that person, because everything reminds them of him or her, whoever has died. Why? Because these things are related to him. So he says that this prasad, this grace which he gave to the young girls, now this reminded him that grace to the Yagyapatni. So grace is common. That is the relationship. So there is something common, then one thing reminds you of another thing which is related to that. So therefore, he is talking about this not of Krishna but of actually Muni. I thought it was about Krishna. He says Vivakshur Abhut Muni. So it is Shukdev who described Krishna's grace on the young girls, and now this reminds him of describing Krishna's grace on Yagyapatni. This is called Prasanga Sangati. Then you are describing one thing, and then when you are describing one thing, you describe anything which is related to that. So then you go to that. So it's not Krishna, but Sukdev who is reminded of that. So this came in his mind, and then he became Vivakshu. He became inclined to speak about Krishna's blessing to the wives of the Brahmanas. Athaiti samayantara vyanjakam. So the word atha, it implies another time, means a different time, in even different season. Because this happened in winter time, right? This was in Agrahan right after Kartik. But now what he is going to describe is summer time. Means few months have passed now. Because after that will be Govardhana-līlā again, after the rainy season. So kadachid nidaghartau iti artha. So kadachit nidag. Kadachit, the word kadachit means sometime. It refers to, there is no kadachit in the sloka. It refers to the summer. Anyway. So nidagharka tape tigme छायाभि स्वाभिरात्मनः आतपत्रायितान् वीक्ष्य द्रुमानाः व्रजौकशः हे स्तोक कृष्ण हे अंशो श्रीदामन् सुबलार्जुन विशाल वृषभोजस्मिन् देवप्रस्थावरूथप पश्यते तान् महाभागान् परार्थैकान्तजीवितान् वातवर्षातपहिमान् Sahanto Varayantina. So Krishna is now in the summertime. He says Nidagha Arka Atape Tigme. It was very hot summer and the rays of the sun were very strong. Tigma means sharp. So they, to protect themselves, they went under the tree. So Chayabhi Swabhir Atmana Atpatraitan. So the trees were acting like umbrellas. Atpatra means umbrella. Why Atpatra is called umbrella? Because Atapa means sun rays or heater, and Tra means protects, so which protects you from sun rays, called Atapatra. So Atapatraitan, this will come young, acting like umbrella. Trees are not umbrellas. Atapatraitan means acting like umbrella. They're not actually umbrella, but like umbrella. So Swabhir Atmana Atpatraitan Viksha. So seeing the trees who were acting like umbrellas in that hot summer, Krishna, he spoke to the Brajavasis, means his friends, and he called them He Stok Krishna. So this is the place where some about 10 names of his friends are given. So other places you see 2-3 names, but this is probably only place where he has so many names. So he said, O Stok Krishna. So Krishna is there. There is also another Krishna, is Stok Krishna, means small Krishna. Stok means little. He Amsho means O Amshu, Sridaman, Subala, Arjuna. So there is also Arjuna here in Braj. When Arjuna is outside Braj. Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojaswin, Devaprastha and Varuthapa. So these are the, I think 5-10 of them. So Pashyata Etani says, look at these fortunate trees. How fortunate they are. He says, Parartha Ekanta Jivitan. They are living only for the sake of others. They don't eat their own fruit. Trees give fruits, right? But do they eat also? No. If you grow vegetables, you grow for yourself. If you plant fruit trees, then you eat yourself. But the trees, they don't eat. Rivers don't drink their own water. Trees don't eat their own fruits. So he says, therefore they are only for parartha. Only to help others. Only to give to others. Ekanta, Jivitan. This is the only purpose. Ekanta means the only purpose for which they live. Vata, Varsha, Atapa, Himan, Sahanto, Varyanti. And they tolerate wind. Sometimes heavy wind is blowing with dust. There is heavy rain, heat, cold. They tolerate everything and protect us from all these things. If it is rain, you go under a tree. If it is hot, you go under a tree. If it is cold, then also under a tree you will have protection. So Varayanti na. So this is how they are doing welfare to others while tolerating the difficult weather themselves. So Paramudara Vrikshayanau api Janma Sadbhi Prarthya Natu Kripana Karmi Vipra Jatau Iti Imam Artham Japaitum Vrikshan Stauti. So Krishna is praising the trees, and by this he is informing us that it is better to be born as a tree who is very generous. Param Udar. Udar means very generous, charitable. So he says that a good person should desire to become a tree, a generous tree, but don't desire to become a Brahmana who is Kripana, miserly. So Natu Kripana Karmi Viprajatau iti mamartha. So to be a human being and not be generous is worse than being a tree. Because look, trees are doing good to others, and what human beings are doing? Cheating others, plundering, right? Exploiting others. So trees who cannot speak, who cannot walk, they do good to others. And human beings who can do so much, they only exploit. So he says, therefore he says, sadbhi vrikshayonau api janma prarthya. Says one should try to be a tree like this, especially in Vrindavan. Uddhava was praying Brahma also. So he is praising the trees. Because Krishna himself is like that. Krishna does good to others. Right? He helps others. So when he sees someone else doing that, he is impressed by that. Sakhin sambodhya pashyata iti chaturbhi. So he is addressing his friends and then speaks these 4 slokas, beginning with pashyata. Stoka krishnadayo ashtau ashtadikshu krishnasya rakshana karmasu sthita. So now he says that there are 10 names here. So there are 8 directions, right? East, west, north, south, and then in between east, south, east, north, west, south, west, north. So 8, and up and down, so 10. So these are 10 friends who are protector of Krishna in 10 directions. So therefore he says this here, that stoka krishnadayo ashtau ashtadikshu krishnasya rakshana karmasu sthita. That 8 people beginning from Stoka Krishna, Amsu, Sridaman, Subala, Arjuna, Vishala, Rishabha and Ojaswin. So they are engaged in Krishna's security. They are like security guards, one on each direction. And then there are 2 more, Devaprastha and Varuthapa. So it says Devaprastha Varuthapau Kshatradharaka Vartma Shodhakau iti urdhvadho deshakrityau sthita. So how they protect Krishna in the up and down? So one is holding umbrella on his head, that is protecting from above. Another one is cleaning the path on the ground so that he doesn't step on thorn or some pebble and hurt his feet. So that is lower. So these are 10 total. Then there is one more who is not mentioned here. So one should understand him also. So he says Ekadasho Bhadrasenastu Gopasena Adhyaksa Sarva Pekshaka. So there is 11th one, his name is Bhadrasena. And he is the commander-in-chief of the army of the Gopas. So he says he is Gopasena Adhyaksha. He is the commander. Sarva Pekshaka. So everybody works. Because when you have many people, you also need one to control them. Otherwise, one person can go into another person's territory and neglect his. So somebody has to also make sure that everyone is in their own area and doing things. So he says, Tadanim dura sthita iti lakshate. So he says it is understood that he was standing little away, keeping an eye on them. So just like when they do yajna, so big yajnas, There are 16 priests. So one of them is called Brahma. So his job is only to see that everyone is doing their respective duty properly. Because there is a lot of things. Somebody has to prepare material, somebody has to pour the oblations, somebody has to recite the stuti, somebody has to chant the mantra, and many things done. So he has to see that everybody is doing things in order, because order is very important in Karma Kanda. So like that Bhadrasena, he is standing away, watching, supervising. Ye vat varsadin swayam sahmana asmakam varayanti. So he says that these trees, they are so great, so benevolent, that they themselves tolerate all this cold, heat, rain, wind, but they protect us from that. So we should be respectful to them. Aho esham varam janma sarva prani upajivanam sujnasyeva esham vai mumukha yanti narthinah. So he says that look at these trees, how wonderful they are. They are sarva prani upajivanam. They are actually the shelter of everyone's life. So we should protect trees. People are realizing now the importance of trees, right? Krishna also, he already knew this. He already proclaiming that protect trees, because our life depends on trees. If you remove all the trees from earth, we will die, because the air is cleaned by them. The balance of oxygen, nitrogen is maintained because of the trees. So therefore he says, Sarva prani upajivanam. So he is using the word prani. Prani means who live on prana. And prana comes from the trees. If trees are not there, there is no prana. So therefore they are the source of life. So sujanasyeva yesham vai mumukha yanti narthi. So he says they are like very nice people, sujana, because just like if you go to some saintly sadhu, good-natured person and ask something, then you don't come empty-handed. They will give help to you. Unless they don't have anything, but if they have, they will give. That is what sujan is. So he says, like that you go to a tree, you will never come empty. At least he will give you shade, nothing else. He can give you nice air to breathe, which is very important. And there was one man during the COVID period, he fell sick. So he was about to die. He was admitted in the hospital, and he was there just for 2 days. And when he came out, he got a big, huge bill, because ventilator they charge in hours, and especially COVID period, they are charging even more. So when he saw the big bill, he started crying. So the doctor thought that he's poor guy, he cannot pay. So he says, don't worry. He did not say that I will give you discount. He said, don't worry, you can pay in installments. So the old man said, no, I have no problem in paying. I'll pay the bill. Then why? He said, why are you crying? He says, I'm crying because for 2 days I was here, you gave this much bill, and for the rest of my life I'm breathing. How much bill I should pay to God? That's why I'm crying. So you see, these trees are doing such welfare to us, and they don't charge. That's why it says, Sujanasya yesham vai vimukha yanti narthina. So arthina means beggar. So if a beggar comes to a sujana, to a good-natured person, good-hearted, kind-hearted person, then he does not go dissatisfied. He will get his wish fulfilled. So the trees are like that. That you approach them. If you want some leaf, flowers, fruit, you want wood, you cut them. Still they give you. So without wood, life is not good. Right? Wood everywhere. So sujanasya atithayasya arthino yachaka. So sujana here means like a host or one who receives a guest, and arthino means beggar. So how are they doing service? He says they are doing service with all the limbs, all the parts of their body, everything. Patra pushpa phalachaya मूलवल्कल दारुभिः गंध निर्यास भस्मास्थि tokmai kaman vitanvate. So they are fulfilling the wish of people. Kaman vitanvate. Kaman means desirable objects. Vitanvate means they supply, they give. How? They give leaves, right? Like if you have spinach and leaves, right? Make soup. So many leaves are used, right? For making vegetable soup. Pushpa, flower, various types of flower, cauliflower. It's a flower, right? Broccoli. And then if you are Bengali, you make sabji of the banana flower. And Gokulananda will take even the pumpkin flower. You can make pakoda from that. So patra pushpa, flower also, make sabji from flower. And phala, fruit, everybody knows, various types. Then shade, they give shade, especially if you are in the forest, if you work in the field. And moola, the roots, right? Potato, beets, radish, carrot, right? These are all roots. Valkala, all the, what you call the bark. Bark is used so much in Ayurveda medicine. Darubhi, wood. Use wood for burning. Gandha, fragrance, make fragrance. Niryas, the sap which comes out from the tree. Make drink also. Palm tree. Make a cut, juice comes out from that early morning, drink that. And bhasma. Bhasma is also used, right? You've seen Shaivites putting bhasma on their body, on the forehead. Advaitis. Bhasma is also used as a fertilizer. And pulp, asthi. Pulp is used, sandalwood pulp for worship. Tokmai means shoots. So all, basically every part of the tree is useful for human beings. So this is what he's saying. So just like in the 11th canto, there is a song of, it's called Avdhuta Gita. So this Avdhuta is speaking to Yadu, King Yadu, and he is explaining that he has got this, some like 24 gurus, what he has learned from everybody. So here Krishna is also teaching like that. So Niryasa, Nibid Rasa. Niryasa means the juice or the essence. Asthi Saramsa. Asthi is the essence. Tokma Pallavadi Ankura. Tokma means shoots. So So etavat janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu pranair arthair dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. So now he gives the essence of the whole talk here about the trees. He says that for those who have body, dehinam, this is the perfection of life. And what is that? That one should do welfare to other living beings, dehishu, by your life, prani, arthai, by your wealth, dhiya, by your intelligence, vacha, by your speech, shreya acharanam sada. So means whatever you have, you should use this for others, not only for yourself. You use for yourself, of course you have to live, but that does not mean that you live only for yourself. Then you are worse than a tree. So tree is doing so much welfare and does not ask anything in return. So Mahaprabhu therefore also said, Tranadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnana. So tolerance, as Krishna said that they are tolerating so much sahante. So human beings should learn this from the trees. We can learn something from everybody, everything. So janmanaha safalyam etavadeva. This indeed is the perfection of life, to do good to others. Iti prabala stabaka falapuspadalotkaraihi tarunam namra shakhanam madhyato yamunam gataha tatraga payitvapa sumrishtaha shitala shivaha tato nirpaha swayam gopaha kamam swadupapurjalam tasyapuvane kamam charayanta pashun nripa krishna rama upagamya kshudartha idam abruvan. So in this way Krishna was walking in the forest and praising the trees, and then he walked in between the branches of the trees which were coming down and full of pravala stabaka falapuspa dalotkarai, means all these new leaves, fruits, flowers, etc. So which were hanging, and because of the weight the branches were coming down. So he passed through them and came to Yamuna river, Yamunam Gata. And there the cows, they drank the sweet, cool, pure water. Sumrishta, Sitala, Shiva. Not the today's Yamuna. Previously Yamuna was very clean. 40-50 years ago you could drink water, very nice. So tatra ga payitva. So payitva, this is the nipranarth. So after making them drink water, then all the cowherd boys, they also drank. So swayam gopa kamam swadu papurjalam. So they drank water because summertime you feel very thirsty and they are not carrying water with them. So whenever they feel thirsty, they just go to the river and drink. Or some lake is there, you drink water. Previously people drank from lakes, rivers. Those were the sources of water. So they drank the water, and then the animals, the cows, etc., they grazed, O king, in that forest. So now the young boys, they became very hungry. So kshudartha idam abruvan Krishna Rama. So they approached Krishna and Balram, and being tormented by hunger, they spoke as follows to them. So, Prabhaladibhir Nat Shakhanam Iti Sarartha Darshinyam Harshinyam Bhaktachetesam Dvavimsho Dasmedhyaya Sangata Sangata Shatam. So this ends 22nd chapter and also the commentary called Sarartha Darshani, which gives harsha to the hearts of the devotees. So end of this chapter. Any question on this? Yeah. You can take the mic.
So I guess going back to Shukadeva, I guess going back to Shukadeva and the dismantling effect, or I guess the process that a person feel they lower their guard when there is no identification with the body and like not seeing male and female. In the Yoga Sutra, I think 2.38, we have Brahmacharya Pratisthayam Virya Labhaha, and I think Vyasa only says that the individual that is established in this Brahmacharya, the disciples listen to the Guru, or the disciples listen to the teacher. So just pondering on that, what specifically makes the disciples listen to the Guru when there is Brahmacharya established in the Guru? And is that linked somehow? Can we make a link to Shukadeva in a similar way with that dismantling effect?
No, it's not related with Sukdeva. Sukdeva is beyond that. I mean, this is just talking about Yama. Sukdeva is at the state of Samadhi. Right? Yama, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. He is already, that's why he's called Mahayogi. Samudrik Nirvikalpaka. He is situated in Nirvikalpak Samadhi. Asampragyat Samadhi in the terminology of Yoga Sutra. So he is beyond this Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya, because Brahmacharya is related with mind. Lust is called Mansija or Manoj. Mansija means born in the mind. Where does lust take place? In the mind. Manifest body later on, but first in the mind. So Manoj means also born in mind. Mansija means born in Manas. So if there is Kama in the mind, then how you will listen to Kama or you will listen to Guru? That's why in Yoga Sutra Brahmacharya is important, because then you can focus. So then if when Kama is there in the mind, you cannot focus.
Right.
Because your mind is tormented by that. This is the big disturbance. That's why you see now people have ADHD. Right? It's the effect of that. Because there is so much Kama in the society now. Kama is very happy. It's making everybody run left, right, and now it has been stamped by the authorities that it is needed, it is good, it is necessary, right? So business people also want it, because then you can sell your products. So Freud said yes. So Freud is a friend of Kamdev. Maybe an agent of Kamdev. So he said there should be free sex. Not. So he understood part of the truth. What he said is right. It should not be repressed. But that's also not the solution.
Right.
Because he did not know the other part. So people went from one extreme to another extreme. From repression to expression.
Right.
So just going like a pendulum, go from one extreme to another extreme, but you have to be balanced. So therefore now there is so many yoga centers, but no talk of brahmacharya. Rather they have nude yoga. Patanjali will say, oh, I did not think of this. Patanjali could never dream of nude yoga.
They just add in their own commentary to it.
Yeah, of course. They cannot avoid Patanjali, so they have to write something. So that's why it is called brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means that acharan by which you reach Brahman. Brahmacharya literally does not mean celibacy. But once you translate the word into English, so that's why we have to read Sanskrit non-translated.
Babaji?
Yes.
Yado, traduzir uma pergunta. Nós moramos no Ocidente e quando nós lemos aqui que as árvores se dedicam ao bem-estar de todos, com todas as suas potencialidades, como que um sadhaka que está objetivando servir a Sri Krishna e ao Guru pode estar ajudando as pessoas? Até que ponto a gente poderia dizer o que é ajudar as pessoas? Poderia explicar melhor?
Maharaj, she asked that we live in the West and we heard that the trees help other people. To which extent we are practicing our sadhana should help others or try to help others in such a way that Lord Krishna is giving this advice. Could you explain this more deeply, please?
Yeah, so you can help others if you have the ability to do that. But first you have to become fixed yourself. So first help yourself, then help others. So the trees, they are deriving their nutrients from the earth, they are growing and then they give to others. So we also have to derive our nutrition first from our sadhana. Otherwise what will happen, that you will starve and then you would not be able to help neither yourself nor others. So first you have to gain strength, spiritual strength. So that is very important. So first we have to understand what is spirituality, what is bhakti. And then you have to ingrain it into your own life. And then you can help others. So as Krishna says that kripalo asamarthasya dukkha eva kripaluta, that the grace or compassion of an incapable person brings only suffering to oneself and to the other. Because if you are incapable, you cannot help, and because you cannot help, you will suffer, and that person also suffers. And therefore he has another statement which says kripalo samarthasya tu sukha eva kripaluta. But if somebody is samartha, capable, then that is pleasure for both one who is kripalu and one who is object of grace, because both get enriched.
Ok, entendi perfeitamente. Muito obrigada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Babaji, this statement, this injunction by Shukadeva about the trees that every living being should act like a tree, sounds like a general moral statement. So is there any specific reason why this is coming now at the end of this chapter?
Well, he's coming because he's going to describe the Yajna Patni in the next chapter. So he's leading This is a segue from here to there in between summer season. So Krishna and cows, they are suffering from heat. They are thirsty, so the trees are giving help them. That's why I said that they are helping, and we should be like that. He's praising them. If someone benefits you, you feel grateful to that. So that's what he's saying. But if one is capable of helping, one should help. That is also there. Okay.